Hey guys, it's been a while. So some of you may have saw I tried to upload a Monster Musume discussion video. I know that seems kind of ridiculous in the context of the series, but I mean, considering it's a harem series, but that's what I did. I uploaded a discussion video and found out the audio was muted, and that kind of demoralized me. And so the last thing I think I've uploaded on this channel was the Sekirei video. But I have missed about almost 2 weeks of Blue Exorcist, and I have been keeping up, so I wanted to come back and talk about Blue Exorcist, goddammit. So we have episodes, I believe it's 8 and 9 if I went back and checked the description, but I didn't. So we're just spitballing here. I'm pretty sure we're not in the double digits yet. Which brings us up to chapter 30 in the manga. And when I say it's a one-to-one translation, it's literally a one-to-one translation. So there's really, I think there might be some really minor things, like when Yukio protects one of the guys from the Impure King's, I guess I'll call it the fungus growing on everything. In the manga, it's like it's already spread to his arm, and he has to have like some type of treatment on the dude's arm. Versus here, it stops before it even gets to him because he shoots it first. But it's literally there's really no change in the sequence. Almost the damn translation's almost exactly the same, maybe substituting a word or two. But it's literally like it's a one-to-one translation, so there's nothing really to talk about differences between the manga and the anime because there's nothing being cut out here. But I did want to talk about the content of the episode and certain things, particularly the new episode, which is episode 9. Episode 8 is more just kind of set up, where episode 9 kind of pushes everything. Like, pretty much that even though Ren and the group have kind of come back together and there's like a squad, we're at squad status, they all still have their subtle issues that they've had that they're still working on. Kamiki's still very distrusting, but she's become more open, but she doesn't realize she's become more open. So a lot of her banter between, and it's obvious Shamey is having a real effect on her, which is going to come up later arcs that the anime may or may not get to. The point I'm making is that the stuff with Kamiki and Shamey is important for Kamiki's development, and it's actually just as important for Shamey's development, because she's already said this before, but like, Shamey's kind of her, Kamiki's kind of like an inspiration to Shamey, along with like Ren and Yukio. Like she's just as up there as the other two are. So it means a lot when Kamiki says things to her, which is why she reacts the way she does, and it throws Kamiki off because she's not used to being valued as much as she is with Shamey. Shamey values the shit out of her, and I legitimately don't think Kamiki's prepared for that. Kamiki's like one of those types of girls who like talks a bunch of shit. Pretty much, she's really blunt and straightforward, so she expects to get a lot of shit. And sometimes, and Shamey's like, it's like the shit with Snafu, where Yuki Noshita's used to saying her mind and talking what she wants to talk and getting shitted on before because, oh, she's so mean and shit. Except, and then you run into the one person, Yui, aka Shamey, if we're cross-related characters, who's like, I think you're really cool. And it throws them the fuck off because they're not used to anyone responding positively to that. Which is probably, I think it's probably the reason why I like Kamiki as much as I do. We also get to the famous princess line, which I was looking forward to because that is like a really running gag. This is what I mean by like the weird, like, boys love undertones, which, I mean, fuck it, it's not a big deal. I mean, they do this with rivals and shonen anime all the time, but I do find, I'm not too surprised that it seems like even more open here than it really should be, because, well, the mangaka's a girl, and let's be fair here, look, guys put fan service in their shows, so of course the girl's gonna put some yaoi undertones in theirs. I don't think it ever got too ridiculous, at least if it did, either that or the trauma was so great that I don't remember. So, and obviously Ren's still dealing with his, I can't pull the fucking sword out. And now it's become an issue of, well, it's not that he's scared, because if he's scared, he wouldn't be out there fighting in the first place. Either that or he doesn't have enough confidence to pull the sword. So what's the big deal with him and the sword? Shamey dealing with her uselessness, which is kind of Shamey's main character development trait, where it's like, I feel like shit. I feel like I can't help nobody. I want to help everybody. Everybody's my friend. I don't want anyone to let anyone down. I want to be useful. All that other shit. But the most interesting, and then obviously you have Shima being a fucking coward. I'm just gonna warn you now, Shima's character is a very interesting character, but you really won't see the full extent of what I'm talking about until you go read the manga. I think we have like another arc or two before you really get to see the full extent of what I'm referring to, but Shima is very interesting. Kanekamaru, I would almost argue the same thing. Like, I don't really feel like those two, character development wise, don't really start shining until like the next few arcs. But the character here that most people should be focused on, and the one that's the most interesting, is our main bro, Yukio. This episode is the start of things that are referenced throughout this is where I think they got the basis for the filler of the second season. Of the second half of the first season. Because in the manga, there have been references, this being the first one, of Yukio possibly being a demon also, or having at least some demon heritage in him. That's what is implied. The problem is it's never fully expressed if he's actually a demon or not. Even though it's been confirmed that he's not, he might have latent demon powers. Like this idea is going to be toyed with and will continue to be toyed with for a while. So don't expect any real resolution to that right now. I'm just letting you know that's not really a spoiler, because realistically, it just kicks it up. It's like there's something there, we just don't know the extent of it, and we don't know what if it's not. He was never classified as a demon, and there are certain things that don't affect him the same, and there are things that would affect demons. That affect humans. That Yukio, like, he doesn't show any signs of being a demon, but it's obvious there's something there based on this and a few other instances that I won't bring up because they're spoilers and they ruin arcs, and I don't want to do that. It's very interesting, but there's not too much to it because this is just the start of it. And we also kind of get his understanding of how he feels about his brother, which it's not anything too groundbreaking. It's just that he's insecure because he hates the fact that he used to have to be protected by his brother. Because half the reason why he does what he does, and this is what goes into it, is that his brother, even though his brother had no idea of what he was doing as an exorcist throughout their childhood, his brother was still showing how better he was than him, although it was never looked at that way, but how he was still growing and still that kind of person regardless of what was going on in the background. Yukio feels a little ashamed and insecure because he wasn't naturally like that. He had to work towards that, and even now he still feels it, where it's like, even though Yukio is a pretty capable exorcist at this point, and actually considered somewhat of a genius, he still never really hits the same mark that Ren does. And I think it's just because Yukio, I don't think Yukio's truly understood, and I think he will hopefully eventually, that, hey, just because there's not an issue of him doing something that I can't do, is that we kind of cover each other's back, and I don't think Yukio's truly understood that. I think Yukio will always have a level of insecurity towards. He will still have an inferiority complex and be kind of hateful towards his brother annoyed with his brother, because he won't just straight up admit that, like, he doesn't realize that I hate to make the reference, but you ain't gotta fucking turn up, man. You ain't gotta fucking turn up and show out and shit. And I feel like the whole him having latent demon powers, all that shit's gonna come to a head, and it's gonna break it down, and eventually he's gonna just have to have that conversation. Because I think that's what it is. The thing is that he has all this animosity with Ren, and he won't just straight up talk to Ren about it. He'll just get mad distance and kind of walk away from it. And I'm curious to see if Shura is going to intervene at all with him. Because it's kind of obvious if we looked at pairings, and I'm going to do this because it's a part of every series as much of a lot of series as much as people like to pretend it's not. It's obvious that the mangaka seems to be leaning towards Ren and Shamey and Yukio and Shura. Now, we already just I'm not gonna. You know what? I shouldn't spoil that. We've already dealt with development for some characters already, and currently we need to do some development with some other characters. Needless to say, I feel like Shura will eventually be in that development and be there for him where he needs her. We'll see. We'll see. Next week we still have to deal with Ren's insecurities, which is the only other character we still have to deal with because, as I said, Konekamaru and Shima won't really shine that much this arc. Kamiki and Shami's is pretty straightforward, and Bon and Ren's pseudo yaoi romance continues because they're together still. Also, hashtag Shura is such a cute little troll. I love Shura. I've grown to like Shura more and more as I've watched the anime. I don't know why. Just do. Fuck it. Moving on. Life's a game. Play to win. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry about the delays. Drop a like to build up that consistency, damn it. I'm pretty sure this is only gonna be 12 or 13 episodes, so we should be near the end of the Impure King arc. I need to go back and check the manga to see how many chapters are left. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna go play some Zelda. Woo! I would do the jump off screen and then click the button, but the shit never works out. I'm not clever. It's not like I'm editing these fucking videos anyway. Look, my hands on the mouse. My hands on the mouse.